Good afternoon. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC News Break. Attorney General and Home Affairs Minister ADRIEL Brathwaite has admitted that local emergency services had to play catch-up yesterday with the dissemination of information to the public. That after the UE Seismic Research Centre issued an orange alert for Barbados, St. Vincent, Trinidad and Grenada after recording increased seismic activity at the Kikumjeni submarine volcano. CBC understands some stores and companies across the islands closed early for business because of the alert. The Home Affairs Minister stressed that no such order was given, and he says he even spoke to the head of the civil service to advise that there was no need to shut down public offices. Mr. Brathwaite says there will be an improvement in communication to the public going forward.
Unfortunately, what happened in this case is that, and it's something that we're going to have to address in terms of information flow, because unfortunately, and I don't mean this in a negative way, that in fact that the Seismic Research Unit issued its advisory. It came to mainstream media, which then went to the public. So we were basically playing catch up in terms of this press conference. Because as you very well know, once you go to the public and say orange alert, possible earthquake, etc., you're going to have this reactionary element that you have.
Meanwhile, local emergency agencies are being told to review their plans of action to respond to an earthquake or tsunami as a matter of urgency. Dr. LORNA INNISS sounded the warning at yesterday's emergency media briefing.
Because we anticipate that the seismic activity may continue as it did last week during this alert, that all of us will need to be vigilant. But I think it's also a good time to review the plan that we have as organizations, as households. We need to review what we would do if a particular event occurred. And coastal residents would need to be particularly vigilant because, like I said, the threat of a tsunami is not non-existent, but it is low.
Dr. INNISS says the biggest concern at this time remains seismic activity.
If the seismic activity is strong enough, and and Barbados does receive a tsunami alert, then we will begin to move. We will begin to move away from the coast upward. And so at this point, the issue is more the seismic activity.
We'll have more on how yesterday's alert affected the Eastern Caribbean in our regional news. Well, the Alliance and owners of public transport are calling for an urgent meeting with local insurance companies. Chairman Roy RAPHAEL says among the organization's major concerns is the high rates they're being charged to insure PSVs and hired cars. He also charges that some insurance providers are even refusing to offer coverage to ZRs and minibuses.
You can have one bus paying as high as $20,000 for insurance. One insurance company have already made the decision not to insure PSV other than their owner driver. I've caused some concern because we have already had meetings from time to time with the insurance company. They too would have expressed some concerns about the way the drivers and so drive on the vehicle on the road. Some of them were even looking at, not to continue to write portfolios on these vehicles. So I believe the time has come for us to really sit with the insurance companies and going forward to see how best we can work with them.
Hundreds of residents in St. Andrew, St. John, St. Joseph and Christchurch will be without water for most of the day. From 8 this morning, the Barbados Water Authority shut down 2 pumping stations for a 12-hour period to continue work in packages A and B of its Capital Works program. Water is currently off in the St. Andrew communities of Belle Plaine, Lakes, Isolation Road, Franklin, Duglin Road, Babylon, Walkers, Shorey Village, Chalky Mount, Cambridge, St. Simons, Bawden and nearby districts. In St. John, Consett Bay, St. Mark's, Fortescue, Bath, St. Margaret's, Glenburnie and Foster Hall will also be affected, along with residents in Tent Bay, Bathsheba, Joes River, St. Elizabeth, Castlewash and East Coast Road in St. Joseph. Now over in Christchurch, Wilcox Hill, Chancery Lane, Ealing Grove, Goodland, Ealing Park, Inchmarlow, Hopewell, Sears Court, Gibbons, Pegwell, Carter's Gap, Atlantic Shore, Enterprise, Silver Sands and surrounding areas will be without water. Customers have been advised to store adequate amounts of water during this time. The BWA regrets any inconvenience caused. Quick action by fire officials early this morning helped to save a food business on Marhill Street from going up in flames. Firefighters got the call around 2 this morning that Peace and Quiet restaurant was on fire, but they were able to contain the blaze and no major damage was reported. Due to the economic recession, married couples are being urged to resolve their financial issues before seeking a divorce. The advice from attorney-at-law Anthony Francis Worrell. He was speaking on the sidelines of a presentation to traffic wardens.
Most of the matters that come before the courts revolve around economic problems and challenges. Gone are the days when it was due to a third party. Certainly in this economic position when, government is taxing, everybody's not gaining a steady income, persons are not gaining a steady income, or certainly if they are gaining a steady income, the cost of things have risen. You're finding that that's causing a lot of frustration in marriages and leading eventually to a dissolution of the marriage.
The attorney says married couples must consider the effects of divorce on children, and that's why he believes they must see divorce as a last resort.
For example, a father may come and say, I want a divorce, without regard to what the court may deem to be proper arrangements for the child. For example, maintenance, custody, access, those kind of things. So, it's not a situation where you just come and you get a divorce. Certainly, in respect of marriages that contain children, the court has a paramount duty to consider what is in the best interest of the child. And what may be the best interest of the child is certainly not what a mother or father might deem to be the best interest of a child, but certainly what the court deems to be in the best interest of a child.
We'll have news from the region and further afield when we come back. Stay with us.
10 will sing, but 1 will win. It's the Pickety Crop Finals coming to you live via streaming on www.cbc.bb for just $25 or 51 Barbados dollars. Log on to www.cbc.bb and book now. Special conditions apply for credit card transactions. CBC, your link to the festival.
The festival is in full swing and MCTV's offer is amazing. Watch Soca Royale and Pick the Crop Finals via MCTV pay-per-view for only $50 each. Both events will be shown on MCTV channel 115 and in HD on channel 118. To book, call MCTV at 228-6288 or email us customerservices@cbc.bb. Remember to have your account number at hand when booking. Special conditions apply. MCTV, the right choice for the festival.
Good morning. Monday on Morning Barbados, we've got Peter's Pet Peeves. I hope you've been sending your pet peeves in. You still have a little time. Send them to paleen@cbc.bb. We'll also take the opportunity to tell you about the National Day of Significance. And we'll talk about the riots of 1937, of course. And we'll head outside on the lawns with Chef Craig for Cookout Mondays to inspire your week. And you're looking for more inspiration? The Brands of Summer promotion continues. You will have an opportunity to win each and every Friday right here on Morning Barbados during the promotion. So we'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Morning Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you.
We begin in Grenada. Acting Prime Minister Alvin Nimrod has assured citizens that despite heightened seismic activity with a submarine volcano Kikumjeni, there's no significant threat to the country and coastal regions of nearby islands. Mr. Nimrod says there's no need to move people away from coastlines, adding that the greatest danger is to ships. He says that's because the gases released by Kikumjeni can lower the density of the water, causing them to sink even if it is not erupting. The acting Prime Minister called on Grenadians to keep calm and listen only to information disseminated from national disaster management officials. Meanwhile, Trinidad and Tobago has been placed on a national alert state colored yellow following increased seismic activity monitored off Grenada. The Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management CEO, Dr. Stephen Ramroop, explains that first responder agencies there have been briefed on the situation and are in a heightened state of readiness.
The orange alert is not a national government of Trinidad and Tobago or any other Caribbean country's alert. It's really a UE seismic information alert, so that people have to take the information and do the necessary. What it is, Trinidad and Tobago is now what is called under a national alert state, which is yellow. We haven't raised our alert state except to put it in a heightened degree of vigilance, which is what we are currently operating under.
The Guyana government has set up a task force to deal with widespread flooding in the country. Public Infrastructure Minister David Patterson outlined the government's long-term initiative to deal with the issue. He said the task force will be headed by retired Major General Joe Singh and will include officials from the Guyana Association of Professional Engineers, the private sector, the Civil Defense Commission, and various ministries. Patterson said that Guyana has been offered support from the Netherlands in the form of a technical team to assist the task force. International news now. Authorities are investigating another mass shooting in the U.S. This time, a gunman opened fire inside of a crowded movie theater in Louisiana.